when we think about three-ish, so ish, Jaguar, and the full moon. And with my background being a lot in Chinese martial arts, in Chinese medicine, I think most people know that things are categorized as yin or yang. So the day or night, herbs and spices, and even organs, they all get categorized as either yin or yang. And so the night and the moon, that comes into the category of yin, the female energy. So when we are looking at the full moon tonight, the moon is associated with the dark side of the Tao, the feminine side to the yin and the yang, of the shadow, the night, the darkness. And so tonight we get this really exceptional, potent female, the night is already feminine, yin, the darkness, the moon, but with the ish and the three-ish, three is also associated with women, as well as the number 9 in Mayan, the geocosmovision of the Mayan wisdom and the Choki calendar ish as well. So we're just getting these incredible amounts of female energies tonight, which are rising in the air as we speak. So let's just have a look at some of the commonalities, and then we'll have a nice little grounding opportunity to do wherever we are, to help us, which you might just want to step through tonight, or you might right now, or you might want to try and practice it again tonight. So whatever works for you. What I found really interesting when myself and Santos realized, okay, we'll do a nice little event on the full moon of three-ish. I was like, well, the full moon ish, even the idea of ish, the energy of ish embodies darkness. It's associated with Shilvava and the difficulties and the trials we face in our life. It is associated with the divine feminine energy of our Mother Earth. So the Jaguar is the potent yin energy, the protective mother, and our mother herself, Mother Earth. And if you're here today, our first Earth Keepers event, you care. And that connects us all from wherever you are in the world. Our common ground, our shared intention has created a network across Pachamama herself. So then I started thinking, well, what does the full moon and Ish have in common? And just like the stars, the full moon illuminated the night sky that guided our ancestors as they walked the earth by night. It guided them even when darkness surrounded them. It was their navigation, their path, and their stability amongst the uncertainty of the night. So how can we use this to guide us in the trecena of air, in the 13-day cycle of the puma? How can it help and support us in the creation of our own paths? Today, the two feline energies of the Choki calendar meet, they intertwine, the puma and the jaguar. So how are they going to influence us under the full moon tonight? We'll have to see. So in Qigong, the yin and the yang, the Tao, okay, most of us are familiar with the Tao, the symbol of the yin and the yang. So the yin is the female side, is the dark side, and the yang is the light masculine side. And when we remember that within the yin, we have the seed of yang, and within the yang, we have the seed of yin, it's here that the Tao can teach us and remind us that there isn't one better than the other, and that we should try to, the invitation is to strive for a balance between the two. So when we look at fear, if we're looking at the fear that can arise under the energies today, we're looking at the Jaguar medicine. If we take that and look at with Chinese medicine and Qigong, we can see that fear itself would have a yin side and a yang side. So what would that look like? Well, if fear rules our lives, it has the potential to completely limit us, to cloud our full capacity, to make ourselves believe that constant mind chatter that we hear, that fear can tell us. And if we step forth with this side of fear, we may never know or reach our full capacity, that our soul's purpose has come down here on this earth time. Despite this, we're not here to demonize fear either, because if there's one thing that we all have in common, every single one of us, whether we share the same heritage or if we come from a different one thing is that we all have in common is that we come from a line of survivors. If we are here today, it means that for all the hundreds and thousands of years that Homo sapiens have been walking the earth, we all come from a line of people who made it and procreated for generation after generation after generation. Humans who survived plagues, famines, and other natural disasters as they walked the earth long before man-made borders were made. So it is thanks to this fear that we are here. It is thanks to the natural sense of fight or flight that enabled our ancestors to get themselves out of danger, to embrace the adrenaline that helped them run away from a saber-toothed tiger or any of the very dangerous animals that roamed the earth besides them. And, history tells us that we as Homo sapiens, we've been on the earth for over 300,000 years. And today in 2025, how can we gather that sense of fear, which has enabled us as a human race to get to where we are today with all the advancements, technology, and privileges we have? We have to help to thrive us and become the best versions of ourselves. So when we look at fear, we have the fear that limits us. We have that bird that walks into the cage and closes the door and is in the bird cage and perhaps might even be content. We're human, we're not perfect. We've all lived through the darkness in our lives. And then we have the fear of our survivor ancestors, Homo sapiens. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think when historians say, oh, humans have been walking the earth for 300,000 years, and the oldest written documents are 5,000 years ago. Okay, that's what Western history says. It says 5,000 years ago, the kingdom of they got the first clay tablets. Okay, that's 5,000. And yet anthropology shows that it's 300,000 or 315, they say, at the moment, because obviously there's always updates coming along. It's kind of crazy to grasp that number when, we might be like 40, 50, 60, however old you are, 300,000. But I do think if we are able to just stop for a moment and reflect and just think, oh my goodness, Homo sapiens as a race, we even outlived other human species that were walking the earth. And it's the fear that made them survive. And yet we're so used to demonizing our fear. And yet, if we're in a bird cage and it's limited us, then it's understandable. But if we look to the Tao, we can look for that harmonious balance between the two and ask ourselves, how can I take this emotion and learn and see where I can grow from it? Because today, I'm sure we all agree and know we're in a constant state of fight or flight. So the fight and flight, the adrenaline that saved our ancestors is now killing us. So is it good or bad? And that is really the doubt. It's our mind that wants to put a label and say, this is good, this is bad. When we step back from that attachment, if we can practice non-attachment, non-judgment, we take a step back and we observe and we say, it is what it is. Imagine a bird that for 40 or 50 years has been locked in a cage and then for whatever reason one day opens the door and is able to fly out and can feel the wind beneath its wings and just have the most incredibly beautiful sensation of flying in the air. Perhaps that bird can only feel how beautiful it is because it was trapped, encaged for 40 years or however long. So even when we realize, oh my goodness, I've been living out of fear, or that voice of judgment, we're going to tap into that in a minute because yoga philosophy speaks about it, meditation, mindfulness, Eckhart Tolle in The Power of Now, so many different paths that lead us to this path of consciousness to help us be aware of the mind patterns. If we are aware that we have been stepping forth with that side of fear, we don't have to even tell ourselves off or judge ourselves, because maybe that fear, that wrongdoing was exactly the right thing to do for us to break free, for us to step forth, for us to really feel amazing and the beauty of life that Santos was speaking at the beginning of our call today. So, the modernity of life, of society has taken us away from our natural rhythm, for better or worse. All the advancements, all the technology have caused us to stay in a constant state of fight or flight. So how can we take the Jaguar medicine? How can we take a moment of mindfulness? You can literally have everything material. You could have the best, I don't know what the best car is, but you could have the best car, the best house. Oh, think about all the celebrities. Jim Carrey, when he famously went crazy because they saying I have everything and I have nothing. You could literally have everything according to society standards, and yet you might not have the capacity to step back, practice non-judgment, non-attachment, self-compassion, and observe the patterns of the mind. And that's not to say if you can't do it, oh, she's better than you, she can. No, it's taken a step back from this binary. Okay. And that is also the invitation of the Tao. When I first found out that the yin is the dark side of the Tao, I was a very different version of myself. And my ego was like, oh, that's rude. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, that's negative. Yang is positive and yin is negative. I was like really feisty, really this. I was like, oh, that's rude. I don't like that. And I was getting heated and sweated and like bothered about it. But I was attached. I was in there. it was years before I practiced meditation. And if we are able to, the Tao's, in a lot of you know, we speak personally through WhatsApp. Always, everything comes back to the Tao. The Tao for me has been and continues to be one of the biggest teachers for me, because our society tells us one thing, perhaps our parents and our family tell us another, or our lineage, our heritage. It's really hard to step back and almost disobey. It's not disobedience. It's, I would say, it's finding who we are. It's very difficult to do that in our modern life. Okay, especially if you're living in the city, especially if you work with technology. I think all of us, especially during COVID, the world felt this connection to the earth. Even, people who maybe don't talk about the earth normally realize, oh, when I go out to the park and when I'm near a tree, I feel calmer. It's not a surprise if we think back to our ancestors, our Homo sapien, 300,000 years ago, for 295,000 years, we were living in those conditions with nature, with Mother Earth, and with very dangerous animals as well. And then the last bit of our history, 5,000 years, has been what, we can go to museums and we can read books, it's documented.